Hey, good morning, everybody. It's 8:45 now. Kara Rosenblum is here. She's a registered dietitian. We're talking about getting sugar smart and just knowing how much of it is where. I mean, it's people's choice to consume it, but you want to know what you're getting. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. So where should we start on this comparison chart?
Well, we can start over here at this end, and what we're really talking about is how much sugar is added to some of the foods that we eat, and we consume a lot of sugar without knowing it. So something like a regular can of pop would have 10 to 12 teaspoons of sugar per serving, and that's a lot considering we probably don't want to have more than that in the entire day.
Well, 10 doesn't sound like a huge number, but when you see it in a bowl like that, I mean...
Right, and you think about your morning coffee, you're never going to add 10
Well,
teaspoons
that's it.
of
That's
sugar.
what I always picture, like going 1,
Right.
2, and you
Right.
would just never in a million
Yeah, you'd
years
never do that much.
But you need to repeat that. So you're saying in a can
In one
of
can
pop,
of soda,
there's
you're going
that
to
much
have
sugar.
this much sugar.
Well, we know that that's the high end of sugar
Right.
intake is
Right.
soda pop.
Right.
Yep.
It's just liquid
But
sugar.
chocolate milk you've got there as well. And
Yeah.
I remember, this is one of the reasons I gained a ton of weight when in my first pregnancy. I couldn't drink enough juice and chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Could not. And I mean, there are some benefits to chocolate milk.
Right, and that's when we talk
calcium.
about being sugar smart is if your children love to drink sweetened beverages, would you rather have them drink this much sugar in pop or, a better choice, something like chocolate milk, which has only 2 or 3 added teaspoons of sugar, but it has the 16 essential nutrients that are already found in milk. So you're going to get your calcium, your vitamin D and everything. There's a brand called Dario that recently reduced their sugar by 25%, so there's even better options now. So compared to a regular glass of milk, it's not that much more sugar.
Did they
So
replace it with anything?
They didn't. They just lowered the sugar, so
Yeah.
our taste buds will get used to drinking sweet beverages and aren't as sweet as they were.
Okay.
I love that because I like milk, but I mean, I don't like milk, but I do like chocolate.
And
But I
that's
always
what's the
thought there
same
was
with
some
kids.
kind of natural sugar in all milk. But
There is.
There is?
Yes.
Okay.
So the reason I don't have any sugar in this glass is we're talking today about the sugar that's added to food. And there's also sugar that naturally occurs. And mostly you'll hear about it as lactose in milk and milk products and fructose in fruit. Now these sugars do not do the same harm to our body. The reason that lactose doesn't is because there's lactose in milk, but there's also protein, which blunts that really spike in blood sugar that you can get.
Right.
And in fruit, there's fiber, which also blunts that blood sugar effect.
Okay.
There's a few grams of lactose, a few grams of sugar, but not anywhere near if you're eating pure sugar, added sugar products.
So if you're having a nice big glass of skim milk with like a score bar.
Yeah, then you got the sugar in the score bars.
Yeah,
what
I
you
know,
want to
but,
worry
but
about.
at least you're not compounding it.
It's better if there's a little bit of protein in the milk. It's a little bit better.
I'm
I can't
skipping
recommend
ahead
it.
here, but I just can't stop looking at the jelly beans
Yeah.
and how much sugar it contains.
And it's easy to sit at your desk and just kind of throw back one after
Absolutely.
another. And nobody thinks about the fact that this is just pure sugar. It's really the only ingredient. And if you look at the size of each bowl, it's just
Wait a
all
minute.
sugar.
That amount
This amount,
of
this
jelly
is
beans
half a cup of
equals
jelly beans
that
is
amount of sugar?
22 teaspoons
Because
of
when
sugar.
you eat this and it boils down,
Right.
that's how you
It's
form
this.
jelly beans.
That's all it is. It's a little bit of sugar with some artificial color. That's what it is. It's just pure sugar. Way too much wreaks havoc on the diet.
And your
Don't want
body
that.
doesn't know what to do with all
Right,
that
it's
added
just
sugar.
Too much sugar, and that's what leads to the cascade effect. You gain weight, which leads to insulin resistance, which leads to heart disease. It's it's too much
Can you
sugar.
get your chocolate fix without ingesting a lot of sugar?
Well, sugar is actually not that high in chocolate, which I wanted to illustrate. Also, because chocolate has that little bit of fat in it, it's a better way to get your sugar than something that's just pure sugar.
Right.
So an average chocolate bar like this is going to have about 5 teaspoons of sugar, and it surprises people. They give their kids things like granola bars, cereal bars. It pretty much has the same amount of sugar as most chocolate bars.
Loaded with sugar.
It's not that different. There's
have
added
granola
sugar in
bars
both.
around the house.
Yeah.
And you can retrain your palate, though, can't you? Like you were saying about the chocolate milk. With chocolate, if you slowly start to go to the darker,
Chocolate,
darker.
Definitely, you'll find it's not as sweet, and your taste buds will get used to it.
I guess what's a little bit deceiving is that you don't necessarily, the sweetness doesn't translate to how much sugar there is in that food.
Right.
Because chocolate tastes to me, it would probably be just as sweet as a
Yeah.
handful of jelly beans.
It would really depend on the whole ingredient list. Jelly beans, if you look, it's sugar and glucose and corn syrup, which are all types of sugar. Whereas chocolate will have some different ingredients in it that are fat. That are, there's a little bit of other stuff in there, so it mitigates the
And can you talk
sweetness.
about, because usually you do see how many grams of sugar is in something. How do you equate that to a teaspoon?
That's a great question. If you look at something that, say, has 40 grams of sugar, in context, people don't know if that's a little or a lot. You want to know how many teaspoons it has, you divide the grams by 4. So something with 40 grams would have 10 teaspoons of sugar. That's what you'd see on a can of pop, for example. And that's a good rule of thumb. Just divide the grams by 4.
Wow.
And
It does make it so much more
It's much
tangible.
more visual when you actually can
Yeah.
think of a teaspoon or a little sugar packet that you'd pour in coffee.
And fruit-wise, it's fructose.
Fruit-wise, it's fructose.
And
the
are we
reason-
okay with all fruit?
It's better. Fructose itself, when they extract fructose from sugar and make it into high fructose corn syrup, the problem isn't the fructose. The problem is the amounts of it that we consume, because we have it in pop, we have it in cake, and we have it in candy, and we consume, 40, 50, 20, so many grams of it a day. That's the problem. When you're eating a fruit and there's 8 grams of fructose, it's not going to do the damage that 40 grams in pop are
How about
going to do.
yogurt?
Well, yogurt, there's a range. There are some yogurts that are sweetened with fruit juice. They're naturally sweetened. There are some yogurts that have some artificial sweeteners, and there's some with sugar. But kind of like with chocolate milk, when you're eating yogurt, you're getting a lot of nutrient value in it. So if you're going to have sugar in anything,
Yes.
it's better to get that sweetness from something that also has positive nutrients,
Right.
protein, calcium, vitamin D, rather than having a bowl of, say, ice cream, which just has sugar and fat and doesn't have those nutrients in it. So be sugar smart.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. That's what it's all about. Cara Rosenblum, she's a registered dietitian. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
8:51 now. We're going to take one more break. We'll be right back.
Always so eye-opening.
No sugar tonight in my coffee. No sugar tonight in my tea.